Boy, this movie is dumb as hell. The CGI in this movie is absolutely terrible. The acting, terrible. The action sequences, terrible. This movie is incredibly stupid. This is Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life. I accidentally saw this movie when my wife was in labor. She was at the hospital. I want to say this was after we delivered our kids. Thank God, because this movie would have delivered them right then and there. How big of a headache this movie was. On the opening scene, there was a huge wedding, a Greek wedding going on over in Santorini, Greece, and you see this little girl reaching and putting her hand on the cake and steals a taste of the icing. Trifling. Then there's an earthquake that happens. Canopy that was over the wedding falls down on everybody. And then like this car falls down. And I'm like, where was this car parked? Like over in this particular area, all these houses are sort of stacked on this huge looking mountain or hill looking area. Where on earth was this one car parked? And then I wasn't paying attention in the background. There's somebody that actually fell down. And then the movie starts. All these rocks and everything happened from the earthquake, and it fell into the water that was down below. And then that's the start of the movie. You had a wedding, an earthquake, one random car, movie. So we're off to a great start. This laptop is the worst. It looks like a modern day refrigerator, but it's a laptop. One thing I will say is Panasonic had their hands all over the advertisement in this film. So there is some sort of underground temple or something that they're looking for so they can find this specific orb. It's like an orb of life or something like that. These are the vehicles. These are the vehicles that they use to go underwater to get to this underwater temple. When did Nissan Altima start making submarines? Look at this CGI shark. Ain't it terrible? Just ain't it terrible? So like I said, they're all swimming and heading to this underground temple. This shark shows up out of nowhere and charges towards them like he's getting ready to eat them, and then just goes around them. Like, didn't pay them no mind, just made this whole little charge and then went around them. I was completely confused by that. I still can't get over these Nissan Altimas that they drove underwater to this temple. Like I said, Panasonic, this is a horrible looking camera. Just in every way, horrible. There was a scene where she had to climb up to get to the top of this sort of statue looking thing. And this is how she did it. She climbs up here, grabs on these two poles and splits her legs, and then like flips forward. When I say this movie is stupid, why is this the way that you had to do it? Now I get it. It is a way for you to travel across this particular pole without tiring yourself out because you're using very little effort. But still though, why is this your method of travel? And this is the orb. I kid you not. I'm not even joking with you. This is the orb. This looks like it's a plastic ball from Dollar General. Nope, I say Dollar Tree. This cost $1. And are those red pepper flakes, crushed red pepper flakes all over it? So now some bad guys show up on the scene. So they sneak up, stab. I'm assuming they stabbed him. Either that or they just grabbed the back of his shirt and just neutralized him. So the bad guys end up stealing their Nissan Altimas and heading back up to the surface. She had to swim. Lara Croft has to swim up. So she has an idea. She's gonna slit her arm and she's gonna wait for a shark to show up. And the shark is gonna charge toward her. She's going to wait for it, gonna circle around her a little bit. Then it's gonna charge at her. She's gonna ball her fist up and punch the shark. Then she's gonna grab a hold to his fin and ride it to the surface of the water. The fact that this actually worked is killing me. It's killing me. I'm pretty sure she had some kind of gloves on But shark skin is not smooth, it's not soft in any way. It's extremely abrasive, and touching it with your skin, it will, especially if it's moving and swimming and thrusting about, you will cut yourself. It will cut your skin completely. The fact that this work is killing me. Then she finds like a little piece of wood or a boat, and she kind of rests on it, and she turns this little yellow and black and yellow device. I guess this is a tracker. She turns that on, and she just kind of rests on this little boat here out in the middle of the ocean. Now your arm is still slit. You know, how is it that no other creature is getting whiff of your blood or just seeing you in the water at all? What happened to the shark? Did he just drop you off at the top of the surface and just like, you good, you go ahead? Nah, bro. Then as she's sitting there, right from underneath her, a submarine appears. Like directly underneath her. It just blew me away. Like, you're sitting there and a whole entire submarine floats up right on your position. In this scene here, this is the bad guy. I forgot his name, but he is doing a demonstration of a virus or some sort of deadly remote virus that he's working on. And he said it's about 10 times as strong as the Ebola virus. And he gives it to this guy. This guy dies within seconds right in front of everybody. Then he tells everybody this was an accelerated form of Ebola, highly contagious. But this is how he was holding him. Again, highly contagious. So then he offers them some sort of antidote. And this is how it looks. It looks like it's small pieces of charcoal. Offers them this antidote, and everybody's waiting on him to take it. He takes it, and so everybody else in the room takes the pill instantly. And I'm just like, dude, this is a plane ride that you do not need to be on. What did he tell y'all they were going to discuss before y'all even got on the plane? This is the discussion that we're having? Golly. So Lara Croft is back at home, I assume, and she's in her library, and her and this guy is just having a fight with sticks for whatever reason. They were fighting, and then they got to talking about they want to read some books, and she said, well, we'll read thousands of them, as many as it takes to get whatever information we need. And then she reaches and grabs one of the sticks that she had, throws it, and the stick goes through this wall and lands directly on top of this one book. I'm like, bro, this movie is like the worst version of Triple X. Then she's on a horse riding through the forest for whatever reason, and she pulls out this gun and starts shooting these targets while she's on a horse. I'm guessing this is like an obstacle course before she gets to one of the next buildings in her complex. There was a part here where her and Gerard Butler were in this like this jet. I can't really tell what it is. And they flew in on this jet, and instead of just landing the jet like a normal person, they end up hitting the water, going back into the air, and then she tells him, ready now? He's like, ready for what? She hits the eject button. They're still going full speed in the air, and then they're heading toward this huge cliff. Hit the eject button, jump out, this thing hits this cliff and just completely wrecks and explodes, and they're this far in the air. You're not telling me that eject sent y'all that far into the air. This is where they were, it crashes, and this is where they are right now. How? So they end up landing into this place where Lara normally hangs out, or where she grew up, or whatever the case. And Gerard Butler is working with her now. He just left prison. She got him out of prison. How did he know to pack a leather jacket? How did he know to have sunglasses with him? How did he know that there was going to be an extra bike there for him? Look at Lara Croft's hand. That is the creepiest looking hand in the history of hands. Then there's this little scene where they're on their bikes and they're driving to this location, and of course they finna CGI this to death. She comes out of this tunnel and she's on this wall. I don't know if this is the Great Wall or what, but she's on this wall and she sees him. He's on the street. For some odd reason, she wanted to be driving up here on this wall, and she jumps off of it to catch back up with him and lands like this. And I'm like, nah, bro, you jump off of that going that fast at that angle, You're not fit to land perfectly clean like this. And she did all this in an Ed Hardy jacket. That was this part right here that confused me. This guy had a package or a box with him, and he came up. I guess he's getting ready to make the drop and give these guys this box. And these guys grabbed him, told him to lean his head back and open his eyes. And they sprayed something in his eyes, and it said it's supposed to blind him for the next hour. They take him to meet this guy, I'm guessing so that he can't see his face, or whatever the case. The guy opens the box, grabs a phone. He says, "Is there anything you need to tell me about this?" The guy doesn't say a word. So he pulls out a knife and stabs the guy. Or I'm assuming that he stabs him, because they do a terrible job at showing somebody being stabbed in this film. I don't know if he grabbed his shirt just like the guy from the beginning or what. Is that Vince Vaughn? Lara Croft pulls out this gun, and Angelina Jolie is just not believable in any part of this film. There's no part in this film where I believe anything she's done. Look at this gun. This gun literally looks like it's made of plastic, like a nice hard reinforced plastic. And it's just like, I just don't believe her. I don't believe anything about what she's doing. So her and Gerard Butler, they're riding their bikes. They finally get to the location. They get there, and then she just pulls a gun out on them for whatever reason. But what was crazy is the area that they're in right now is surrounded by a whole bunch of enemies. How did you not see all of these enemies? So these guys grab them and they're taking them somewhere, and these two are talking. I guess they're talking about their plan right in front of these guys. He's like, "Oh, make Chinlo a better offer than his buyer." And it's just like they're discussing all this stuff, and I'm like, they can hear y'all. What is happening here? There's this scene where Laura is in this dungeon basement where all these artifact statues are at, and this guy is killing me with the hairstyle, the shirt. He's killing me. She tells him to take the offer before it expires. He says no. She says, "Then I will have to force you." And then he says, "Then I will have to kill you." Y'all killing me. Like, y'all are really killing me. This dialogue, y'all got to be kidding me right now. And he extends it. Of course, she kicks it out of his hand instantly because he don't know how to back up. But she does this while the whole time her hands is tied. Hands is tied up, and she's able to kick this whole gun out of this guy's hand. So instead of just going for the gun anyway, after she kicks it, he go and reaches and grabs a ancient sword or an ancient weapon and tries to cut her with it. She grabs it and was able to cut through her ropes using this extremely dull looking sword or whatever this is. The technology that this young lady has on her face is the absolute worst. This looks like some Dragon Ball Z Android level reader type stuff. It's killing me. Here in this scene, the bad guys are in a helicopter and they land in the middle of this city in China or in Hong Kong. For whatever reason, they couldn't just drive a car. Laura sees these guys and tries to get to a vantage point where she can get a better shot on the driver of the helicopter. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So she decides to get on a light fixture that's outside on one of the signs. She unhooks one of the chains that's attached to it and hops on it. Nobody on this chopper can see her doing all this. And to me, she had a good clean shot right here. Gets on this lighting fixture and it slides closer to the helicopter. And she pulls out this plastic gun and begins to shoot. And I'm just not understanding, why was this your idea? I'm pretty sure there was so many other areas where you could have got a clean shot. This wasn't the only place. This wasn't the only choice you had. Like I said before, man, nothing Laura does in this film looks believable. This looks so stupid, and it's always sparks in the background. Here she's in a scene, everybody's shooting at her. She's on a rope, swinging, goes into the air. There's some more sparks in the background because we gotta have sparks. Flips. No one's got a shot off on her yet. Lands up here. Gerard Butler leans over, grabs her. No weapon in his hand, no weapon in her hand. This is a clean shot. No one gets a shot off on him. She even takes her time to climb up safely. These guys are down there shooting, still no clean shot. There's a scene where this guy is trying to get this box. He's really over trying to get these boxes from these guys. Instead of just driving a car, they want to get a helicopter, bring it down. He sticks his hand out for this box that is seemingly heavy. The guy tries to give him the box. Look at the size of this box. Look at how he's struggling with it. And it takes 2 guys to lift this box up, but this is how he's reaching for it. What are you finna do? What are you getting ready to grab with this hand gesture? Then he gets frustrated with them two, pulls out a gun, and shoots one of them. I kid you not, a few seconds later, this girl finds a long, I'm assuming bamboo stick, and she's getting ready to pole jump. She's on a roof, and she runs, plants this pole, and catapults herself into the air from a rooftop. Launches herself towards the helicopter. This is all the same scene. Grabs onto the helicopter. When she grabs onto the helicopter, she ended up putting a tracking device on that box that he's trying to grab with one hand. Whoever's in the helicopter with him is trash, because y'all could have been helped him. Then she lets go of the helicopter and falls into this truck, which that fall should have killed her. You fall from up this height all the way down into the lid of a truck, and the bad guys didn't circle around to the truck to shoot her and make sure she was down. They yell, "Let's get out of here." And then they leave. Bro, every time I see this plastic ball in this film, it makes me so angry. They could have come up with anything. They could have made the ball like a black marble ball. No special effects, no special lighting, just something black marble, mysterious looking, sort of like an obsidian, something like that. Anything. And this is what they did. And then they got the nerve to change colors. They got an LED setting on there where it turns from red to green to purple. Then there's a scene where this little kid, then there's a scene where the bad guys get on this elevator. This little kid is on the elevator pressing all of the buttons for all of the floors. And then turn and look at the bad guys like, didn't I do a good deed? You see me? See what I did? They look like they wanted to slap him. And this was confusing. So they're in a mall. This is a public mall. And there is this sector in the mall that's, specifically held off for these bad guys in their operation. This guy walks up to this key card and he swipes. Then the camera checks him and scans his face, make sure he's legit. Cool. But right next to him was Lara Croft with a gun. Out in the mall, in public, not hidden or anything like that. Just her with a gun, along with Gerard Butler with a gun. And they get inside the building. Now they're in this building and they're getting ready to have this huge shootout in the mall, in public, where people are, and I'm just not understanding how and why. So she's in cover, and then she jumps out of cover like this, shooting her guns. And like I'm continuing to say, there's nothing that she does that's believable. They always put sparks behind her to really make it look cool, but nothing she does in this film looks believable. This girl has her eyes closed with 2 desert eagles, it looks like. What are you doing? What is happening? All right, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this is the worst Bluetooth in the history of blue teeth. I mean, the worst, the absolute worst. That was a part in here where she grabbed both of her guns at the same time and started shooting both of the guns with the same hand at the same time. That was a part in here where she's running towards the glass door that they end up getting in, which it was open when they came in. Did they relock it or what happened? She's running toward the glass. Gerard shoots the glass from what it looks like in the movie. He shoots it as she's running towards it to, I guess, open it up for her. She jumps through the glass. Now, they're not on like an upper floor jumping down to a lower level. This is all one level. So she's running, jumps through the glass, and just lands on the floor right here. Meanwhile, Gerard Butler just walks through it perfectly fine. So they leave the mall, they go up to this upper level, and they're running towards this little elevator thing. Construction elevator. Lady who works the construction elevator just lets them in, closes the door, and just complies. Instead of leaving and running, she complies. They go up all the way to this top level. They get up there and there's like 2 parachutes or whatever the thing is, bodysuits where it has like the little winged like the little wing right here, whatever, and you're able to kind of glide. They have 2 of those waiting up here. And it's just like, what if you didn't make it? What if the bad guys cut you off before you got up here? How did you get these planted up here with no one finding them? What? Some kind of way, the bad guys who didn't take an elevator up here caught up with them, started shooting, and these guys jumped off the building just in time in these stupid outfits. Stupid. And then I knew that I hated this movie. I knew that I did. But it wasn't until this part when it sunk in real good. And I was just like, yeah, I hate this movie. Then they parachute and they land perfectly on this boat. Once again, every time I see this plastic ball, it just angers me. That was a part that was confusing to me. She found this family in Hong Kong. They were watching TV in their home, and she said, "Can I borrow your television?" They said, "Yeah." So she started grabbing wires and all these special devices and gadgets, and she's hooking up all this stuff, all this high-tech stuff to different things. She got a phone laid out here, she got a camera, all these different things going on. She's unhooking stuff on the back of the television, splicing wires. She gets her video camera set up on top of the TV, but of course it won't stay stable because there's nothing that latches it onto the TV. There's a little girl in here with the family chewing bubble gum. Laura asks her, "Can I borrow your bubble gum?" The little girl reaches inside her mouth and hands her the bubble gum. Laura uses the bubble gum to make the video camera sit stable on top of the TV, just so she can video chat with this guy. All of that so that you and this guy can have a conversation on video. And when I saw all of this happen, it angered me so badly. You did all of that? You had a phone, a cell phone that works? Just call them and be like, "Hey, what you doing?" Because that's literally, they didn't talk about anything but the orb. They could have had that conversation on the phone. You could have left these people's TV alone. That little girl could have kept her gum. They could have kept watching their show. You interrupted their show. There's a scene where the guy from Blood Diamond is driving a Jeep, and she some kind of way magically appears and she parachutes down perfectly to land inside the Jeep. Shortly after she lands inside the Jeep, they're riding down the street. The bad guy catches up with them and steals the orb because screw my life. Then they said, "You're going to take this orb to the Cradle of Life. We're coming with you. You're going to show us the way." This is the woods that led to the Cradle of Life. Bro, what in the Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets is this? What are we? What? These are the creatures that are in this particular forest of the Chambers of Secrets. I'm sorry, the Cradle of Life. What? Like, what? I'm trying to figure out what these things are. They didn't explain anything. They didn't go into any detail. I'm just assuming these are tree demons. So these things had killed the entire army that came with them, that was leading her, like, "You're going to lead the way. You're going to show us how to get to the Cradle of Life." You know, these things kill their entire army, and they thrive off of movement. So if you move or they hear you or something like that, they'll kill you. And the way that they kill you is they'll just grab you and you'll disappear. Like, just grab you and you'll disappear. And I was wanting to grab this movie and make it disappear. Like, just grab it. Immediately after seeing their team being just annihilated, he pulls out a gun and says, "All right, you're gonna show me how to get to the Cradle of Life." Pulls out a gun, aims it at her, talking loud. "I know we're close. I've seen it in your eyes." What? Take me to Pandora's box. So they're trying to get this orb, this plastic ball, to this box. Then this guy shoots a warning shot at somebody's foot. Y'all are still in this forest. Y'all still in the Chamber of Secrets, Cradle of Life, woods area, whatever. Laura grabs the gun from the bad guy, throws him down, and manages to run away for a second. She's then tackled by one of the soldiers. She ends up getting the orb and she placed it into this crevice or whatever it is. It ends up killing the bad guys, and then now he is along with her, and they are standing on a cliff looking right down at the Pandora's box. He pulls a gun out on her again and tells her, you're gonna go and grab it. For why? For whatever reason, for why? She ends up wrestling with him, clips him, and runs away. And this is how Pandora's box looked, by the way. If you didn't get a good look at it, it looked just as stupid as the orb. One of the soldiers was trying to grab the Pandora's box with the gun and pull it closer. And the worst CGI probably in the entire film took place. This was the gun melting because it touched Pandora's box. When I say this was so bad. There was a scene where he's looking for Laura because she runs off. She's upside down behind him some kind of way. She jumps down, punches him in the face. Real nice. He lays out. And then immediately, in like the next second, he jumps up with the gun and just has her by her neck. And I'm like, what are these action sequences? What is this supposed to be? This scene here, her arm is cut and Gerard Butler is here with a safety kit. Just pulls out some bandages, some tape, a little bit of alcohol swabs. Out of all the stuff this girl done been through, this is what he cares to patch up. Oh, and then they kiss. Bro, then he's getting ready to put the Pandora's box into his Pandora's bag. And she's like, I'm not letting you leave here with that Pandora's box. And he's just like, yeah, you are. And slaps this girl hard. Slapped the taste out this girl's mouth after he done wrapped up her arm in these bandages. Like, the back and forth in this movie, yo. Then there was a part where he's getting ready to pull out a gun and she shoots him first. And she shot him, but Gerard Butler, I kid you not, it looks like he's just laying there. It don't even look like he's been shot. It just looked like he just was like, man, I'm tired. I'm tired of this film, bro. And I think that's what killed him. I think that's what killed him in this film was the film itself. She gets a hold of the box. She begins to open it. Then she closes it back. And then she places it back into the river or water or acid. And then a couple of guys that she was hanging with, they're getting their hair braided by the African tribe. And then they run off, get into the Jeep, and they drive off into the sunset. Bro, I have had about as much as I could take from this film. That was terrible. In every imaginable way. The plot, the CGI, the graphics, the acting, the action sequences, everything was purposely, terribly done. Everything. There was no way they thought this was cool. This was okay. No way. Listen, guys, this has been another episode of What's That About. We're talking about the Lara Croft Tomb Raider Cradle of Life. If you ever get a chance to check this film out, go ahead and purchase it, bring it home, and then burn it, put it in the trash can, and never revisit it again. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys soon. Peace.